our lawsuit thing, right? They're all like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, what if I don't get paid representing back? It's not going to happen, first of all. It's not going to change anything. I can't say that definitively. But if it shut down our entire industry, we could pivot in a second. Our skills as real estate agents allow us to do almost everything, entry level to everything in real estate, investing, property management, wholesaling, anything you can think,
100%.
anything in real estate, selling courses, selling, anything you can think of, you can do in real estate because you are a real estate agent. But
I think that's why it's important never to quit, because you don't know where your niche is until you find it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you don't know what opportunities are
right.
next.
You don't know where you'll end up
Yeah.
if you quit, and it's like you could be selling houses for somebody one day, and literally the next year, you become something clicks, and it's like, wait, I can do this. You become a coach. You become an investor. You become a social media.
that's another thing too, coaching.
Yeah.
Being a real estate agent, it opens you up for coaching too,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is one of the most profitable businesses in
The world.
the world.
And that earlier thought process comes back to passion, where you're being proactive with what's happening in the real world, in our industry, in our market, where you're showing up, you're putting the thought and due diligence in. If this happens, what can we do? How can we pivot? How can we stay ahead? And you're not just drifting along and waiting for something to happen and then acting on it.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say, hearkening back to, and this is a little more per individual. I was going to say, hearkening back to, obviously we give a lot of tools here, but I want to touch a little bit on, because you gave the best word you could give, which was commitment, and not a lot of agents are committed. Like, example, a lot of agents started when the market was super hot. Now that it's slowed down, you see a lot of that dissipate. So I guess my question would be, with applying all these tools, with giving them all these tools, with applying all these tools, let's say someone doesn't make a deal in their first 3 months or 6 months or things like that. Obviously, everyone in this room would tell them, just don't quit, clearly.
Yeah.
The caveat would be, oh, I get 2 deals in my first month, and now all of a sudden 4 months later, I don't have anything. What would everyone in this room say to someone that's like, okay, well, this is the rude awakening, this is what real estate is. You have all the tools, but you have to apply them. So that question is, what would you tell someone, that gets disheartened? Because that happens a lot in this industry.
What would you say?
I think you guys know this answer, right? How does real estate work?
Yeah. What you do today, you reap the
Yes.
benefits 3 to 6 months from
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Right. That means
That's so
that
true.
means that means you slept on a win.
Right.
Which is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
You sleep. You'll usually people don't sleep on a loss. People who sleep on a loss are quitters. But sleeping on a win is 10 times worse, because you have you have a false sense of accomplishment.
Right.
One win means nothing. Nobody cares what you did yesterday. Nobody cares, and your bank account doesn't care. Right? Nobody cares that you spent all week calling for sale by owners. You went on 10 appointments. How long can you pull that off for?
Right.
That's what matters. Can you do it for a whole year?
Yeah.
Can you do it for 10 years?
Yeah.
That's what makes a difference.
Longevity is more important, and that's kind of why I brought that up.
If you're
because
more focused
I've
on today, then
you can give
tomorrow.
people a lot of tools, but if they're not real willing to apply things in their arsenal, then they're not going to get very far.
Yeah.
Well, it comes down to what you do every single day.
Right. Consistency.
Because, like I said, like I told you guys this week, right? If you go out there and you have a real spurt of motivation, I'm going to call 100 for sale by owners today. Okay, fantastic. Let's say you call 100 for sale by owners this week. That's great. You might get something, you might not. But rather than that, what about a different level of commitment? What about one every single day?
Right.
Never fail. One every single day. At the end of the year, you'll have called 365 for sale by owners. At the end of 10 years, you'll have talked to and met with, or you'll at least have talked to 3,650 for sale by owners. How many of those do you think are going to turn into deals?
Yeah.
Right. I'd say you're pretty damn close to being a mentor. So how would you combat that level of, curvature? Like, okay, we start high, but then we come down.
Like the commitment and
Yeah.
consistency. Kind of like Ian just said, not really overselling yourself on the mundane task where you have that motivation and then you just fall off of it. So keeping it simple, and just like working out in the gym, I mean, we all kind of work out, you start off, you follow a program, you stick to it, And once you have that baseline and foundation, that's when you start tweaking things.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how all businesses grow, is by tweaking the finer things. It's not huge, drastic changes. So keeping it simple, the KISS method.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, really honing in and focusing.
I'll
I
check
would say.
camera real quick.
David,
I think I think treating the business, treating prospecting business as a business. I don't know how else to say
A
that.
business in itself.
Yeah, like
As a job.
Yeah, as a job, you know, like prospecting is the job. Like it's not closing deals. I think it's prospecting. I think that's where a lot of agents get confused in this business, and they come in and
I
they're like,
actually like the way you put that.
and they're like, they come into this business and they're like, oh, I'm gonna sell 40 houses this year. Okay, cool. How many for sale by owners are you calling? Because that's the easy part of the job. Once they're under contract, you know, believe it or not, I feel like that's the easier part